reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, as well as YouTube, and we're always up on Spotify. We have a big television in our studio, and it is showing a boardwalk, and I was like, I bet that's Atlantic City, and then we just saw a bus drive by with a casino on it, so.
Gambling. Let's go. Actually, I was going to look up a place. We were talking about summer fun.
Yeah, so when you think of summer childhood memories, what do you think of?
Childhood memories, riding bikes in the neighborhood and building tree houses and forts. And we had 3 girls in our neighborhood, and we had like 6 boys. And they would build their fort, and we would go destroy it. They would build our fort. We would go. It was just always back and forth. But then we'd all come together. We didn't really destroy it. We just would go in and mess it up. And then sleeping outside, we decided one year we were going to build a tree house. My dad ended up helping us, but it was a disaster. But we did sleep out there quite a few times. And I think one of my most favorite childhood memories was we used to play hide and go seek at night because this one little section of our street, it was like a field. Like they didn't grow it, so they didn't mow it very often, so the grass would get really, really tall, and you could hide in the woods. So we'd wait till it gets dark, and somebody would have their boom box out, and the driveway, people had moved out of this house, and it was on the lake, but they had these big stone curved columns, and that was always the meeting place because it's like right in the middle of the neighborhood. And we're like, hey, we'll meet you at the columns. So it's always the columns. And somebody put their boom box out there, and that was base too. So you could go and you could hide anywhere in that whole. So you've got like 12 kids out at night, and you always feel like, the stars are out, and you're laying there, and it's quiet, and you hear the crickets, and, you see, it was just that thrill. It was all, even though we were tearing each other's forts down during the day or having mud ball fights, we all came together, and it was just this thing. And, the few times that it snowed, we'd all meet and we would put candles going down the hill, and we'd all slide down the, what do you call it? Tube sled down the hill.
Yeah.
So those are some of my favorite memories. What are yours?
The pool. So I had one of my best friends would go away up to the lake for the entire summer. So I used to walk to the pool, and I had a bunch of friends there. And then, so it's funny because a lot of the kids that went to my school didn't live close by. When I went to Catholic school, I had a very small class, like 18 kids, and not all of them, they were kind of bussed in or brought in from their parents because it was the closest Catholic school, but it wasn't walking distance. Like the girl I hung out with that lived on my street.
Yeah, you got to get a car.
Yeah.
Got to get.
So I used to go down to. My mother used to go to work. I used to watch, like certain time periods. It was cartoons. Then it started going into MTV.
Yes.
And then I would walk down to the pool and hang out and meet my friends down at the pool and be there till 5 and then walk home exhausted from swimming and, just farting around. And
did you guys go on trips, like family vacations and stuff?
We would go to Disney World in July because most everybody wasn't going to Disney World in July. And we had this very specific routine where we stayed at the Contemporary Hotel, which is that one that the monorail goes through the middle of. So we would go there. The first year, it was just me as an only child. And we would go and lie down by the pool. And there were these round lounge chairs, which I had to lie on.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So we would go down. We
Because
would
you
pick
always,
our
as a
spot.
kid, your experience is going to be different, way different.
Yes. So I'm a spot person. So when I find it like at Takumi, I have my spot. When someone's sitting in my spot, I'm like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
Like I showed up.
Oh,
Oh, now I got to sit somewhere else. I don't like this. That was me at the pool. I would go down early in the morning to get it was the perfect spot to the pool. You could overlook this other area. You know, it was
Yeah.
like my spot.
yeah.
And then the first year I went down, then it would thunder at 3:00 in the afternoon. That would be our cue to go inside and shower. And then we would go to the parks at night, but my parents would like sit and like let me walk around. So I
Yeah.
would do it all by myself. And then the next day I was like, can we bring my cousin just so I can have,
Yeah.
you know, like I can have someone.
Yeah.
And so for every year after that, she came. And then I had
Oh,
someone to
that's
go on the
awesome.
rides with. Because like the first thing I was
Yeah.
going on Space Mountain by myself. I was going on the life of an only child.
And so your dad didn't ride any of them?
No.
Like not even like Pirates of the Caribbean or anything like that? Snow
No,
White?
my parents were not ride people.
Oh.
My parents weren't Canopy Lake people. When I went to Canopy Lake, I went by like we
Yeah.
had to bring someone because they were not that kind of adventurous. They didn't want to be flung around.
But
They
like
didn't
some
want
of
to
the
be.
kiddie rides, like Pirates
When
of the
I was
Caribbean.
little, little, like 4 and under, we went on the train that takes you around that pretend you're driving, or
yes.
not even the teacups,
The
but then-
old timey cars that
or
know
the
that
ones
were
that
on
look
the,
like a plane that's flying, but you're just spinning in a
Yes.
circle. Those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the slow
my dad and my mom did that one.
slow and low.
Yeah, but once I became like 14.
So we used to go down to, growing up in Virginia, most people went to Myrtle Beach or somewhere in North Carolina.
But hence
Nags Head.
why, as an adult, me and my spouse go to Disney World and are like,
Yeah.
so
Let's do this.
we're both, his sisters are younger, so he was at 14 doing Space Mountain by himself.
yeah.
And we always
Yeah.
were like, if you went with me, I would have taken you on the ride.
That's so sweet.
that's why we have that.
So one of my best childhood summer memories is like we would go, we always look forward to it. Vacation only happened once, So in most of the time we got a rental car, so that was always exciting because it was going to be like, just luxury or power windows. I remember having power windows and we're like, let's roll those down 80 million times because now we're like,
Let's break it.
well, my sister and I would think like, oh, we're in the limo, we're in the back of a limo and we'd have our dolls back there and, we have always had some kind of a saga going on. But I remember like one of the most exciting times, and I still feel it to this day. Like if I think about doing a trip at night, like you're packing up, we'd get up at like 2:00 in the morning and get on the road. So you beat all the traffic and you're not driving in the heat of the day, but it was always exciting it was like Christmas, waking up at night and getting ready and you've got all your bags packed and you're leaving at dark and, and then getting there and just having that wild just sense of
Adventure.
yeah, being on the beach, and we'd get those canvas rafts that we, would float on those things and, get sunburn and your nose peel and all you could eat seafood buffet for $9.99.
Yeah. So after the pool, we would all meet at behind this bank. So everyone, that's where like all the kids, they would go to like, and then I ended up at 14 getting a job, and that like kind of everyone came to. I had a job at an ice cream store, right? So
So did you time it so that your job was after the pool?
yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Or before the pool? Work
No,
and then go play.
I wasn't doing the pool during the day.
Oh.
I mean, I was doing the pool during the day. I wasn't working during the day.
Oh, that's good.
And so, and it was really funny because I'm 14 and I'm only working there like a week or two, and they're like, yeah, you can close up the place.
Oh,
like-
I remember that. You had 2 cops that would walk you home.
Yeah. Because who's letting a 14-year-old close up a cash-only business at 10 or 11 at night? And the other thing was I could stay out later because I was at work.
Yes. That's
It was
good.
like, oh, it closes at 10. By the time I do the register, do all the stuff, and I'm not going to get home till 11. Where normally at 14, I didn't
Right.
get to come home at 11.
Right.
So that was another incentive to work. Money, cash money, and getting home later. And then
More-
my friends all used to come there to have ice cream anyways.
Yeah.
So I was getting the benefit of seeing everyone, but also making
Making
money.
money. Heck yeah. Best of both worlds. What was your favorite what was your favorite summer food, and what is it now? Still same thing?
So back then I ate a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
I was a big pizza person, so I would say my favorite food was pizza and ice cream. So I worked at the ice cream store, and we had cinnamon ice cream, which
Ooh.
tastes like when you have an apple pie or some kind of pie, and then you put vanilla on it, and there's that vanilla left over at the bottom. It had that kind of flavor.
Ooh, that does sound
And
good.
we used to make our own. The place I used to work at made their own ice cream like off site, and then they would bring it into like their 3 stores. And so that was my favorite, but that only came in every other week. And then I used to like mix orange sherbet with vanilla ice cream. So I always had ice cream every day or a shake every day. So every shift that I went in, I would have ice cream. So I
Yeah.
would say ice cream was probably one of my favorites.
Oof, yeah.
What about you?
Pizza Hut was always a treat for me because I loved the thin and crispy. But pizza, I think my favorite summer food was strawberries. My grandparents would grow strawberries, like they had their whole big garden, and he would grow the grapes, like the Concord grapes that you have to kind of squeeze into your mouth. We used to go and pick just big cupfuls of, like the Big Gulp, those size cups. And eat.
Slurpees?
Yes. Oh my God, Slurpees.
Do you remember
Yes,
Slurpees?
yes, yes.
Blue raspberry Slurpees.
One of my things, I played softball, and one of the things I used to love is the bubble gum that looked like the chewing tobacco pack. God, I don't even know why. And it's
Big Chew.
Yes, Big Chew. And I like the watermelon flavor because like the bubble gum flavor, it was too sweet. But it's like even though those and what was it, like Lucky Stripe gum? It had like a zebra on it, and it had all these different
Yes.
colors. Like it tastes good as soon as you put it in
And
your
then
mouth.
10 seconds later.
10 seconds later, it's like, bleh. But that's how I felt like the Big Chew was. Oh,
Yeah.
the grape was good too.
Yes.
Hubba Bubba
I was
bubble
just going
gum.
to say, I was a Hubba Bubba person for the bubbles, but then it was like your jaw turned into a rock.
Yes.
Trying to
That gum would get really hard.
really quick, too.
Yes.
So you had to put more in. And
Yes.
and when I think about like the size of my mouth and the size of the gum, I'm like, I must have been slomping around like. What's your favorite food now? Summer food.
What would be my favorite summer food now? I like shrimp cocktail. Like I like stuff that's light. I make this fruit salsa, and you use the pita chips, the cinnamon flavored pita chips. It literally is like eating a cherry pie. It is so good. That's one of my favorites. But I like salsa. Like I love salsa and chips. I like shrimp cocktail, like fresh. And I love picky foods. Like I like the charcuterie board. I like the fruits, the meats, the cheeses. Like I could do that all the time, but I feel like I lean towards that more in the summer.
Because it's lighter.
It's lighter. It's quick, and it's
And you're
like
not cooking. You're not turning on the stove.
yes,
So are you a barbecue person? Like, do you like hamburgers, hot dogs?
Yes.
Steak tips, like that kind of grilling?
yes. I mean, I love steak, but I was gonna say, but the steak is always a year-round thing.
Yeah.
Like even if it's on the, even if it's out. But so I like pasta salads, like just like lighter summery foods.
So my family member just made a new dish. She put cherry tomatoes with some olive oil in the bottom of what would be like a lasagna pan. She took 2 of those Borson
Oh yeah.
cheeses, garlic and herbs. She put 2 inside. She baked it until they melted. Then she added pasta and shrimp. That was fantastic. Like quick, easy,
Yeah.
fantastic. You could eat it hot. You could eat it warm to cold, like as sitting
Yeah.
out. So, and that was just like wicked quick, wicked easy. You could
That's such a
scale
great
it
idea,
to be,
yeah.
much bigger. And that would be a great party food because you could leave it out. You could make it and then leave it out. And if it was an hour later,
Yeah.
but hot food, hot, cold food, cold.
Yes.
Max window, depending on temperature, 2 to 4 hours, depending
Yeah.
on how hot it is. Or you're all getting botulism.
Or
and
20 minutes
food
with
poisoning.
with mayo in it.
Yeah, mayo, you get an hour. And that's why I thought that was a pretty good thing because it came out it was a pasta dish without mayo.
So I've made that before. I've also taken the Boursin cheese. If you take a chicken breast and you slice it open and you create a pocket for it, you take and put the Boursin in there, and then you stuff it with mushrooms and like prosciutto, and then I'll cover it. Sometimes I use like a little bit of chicken broth just to kind of keep the juices and so it doesn't keep drying out. I'll rub the bottom with butter. and then I'll put them in, and then I will smother it with like a little bit of mushrooms and put some mozzarella on top of it just to kind of hold the mushrooms together. It is so good.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I didn't think that there's a ton of stuff you can do that cheese that
Yeah.
would add a lot of flavor without a lot of effort.
I love the I've made it like a scampi sauce. But so once I've cooked my noodles and I've made like a butter, and I take that boursin and I just kind of heat it in the pan and toss my noodles into it, and then I will do like the cherry tomatoes in that. I made a dish the other night that was really good. It was chicken, sun-dried tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, black olives, and fresh mushrooms. And I did like a scampi sauce on top of that. And that was good. But it was light. It's just, you can just coat it. You can taste a little bit of the garlic, the little bit of lemony, but it's not so... I actually had a bite of it the other day, and I'm like, that's actually really good cold.
Yeah, there's some things that's like, I love when you can have also a cold dish. Were you a big concert person when you were younger?
No, just because we didn't get the opportunities. It was an hour away from where the venue was. It was an hour away from us, and you'd have to get your parents to drive.
Yeah.
But we did do a lot of concerts. We did.
So up here, did you ever do the Kiss concert? It was always like in May or June.
No.
It's outdoor at Great Woods, and they would just bring in, because it's top 40, Kiss 108 was top 40. So they would just bring in whatever bands, and it would be an all-day, all-night concert.
Wow.
We used to do that every year.
I would like to, I would, do they still do any of that?
I don't know.
Not
That's
the
a really
same
good
Kiss
question.
concert, but they do like
It's
a
almost
music,
like a Lollapalooza where there's
Yeah.
10 different
yeah,
bands.
like a music festival.
Yes, yes.
Since moving up here, some of my favorite memories and some of my favorite summer memories. Every year, we used to go to the Jaffrey Fireworks Festival. Like, to me, I mean, it beats Disney's fireworks
Really?
by a mile. It is they used to have some of the best fireworks I've ever seen. You watch them all over the world, and people would come from all over the world. But our family would come up and they would camp at the Greenfield State Park. So you had like 20 some kids all riding their bikes. They're all camping, and their grandfather would buy like stuff at the dollar store or like Ocean State and stuff, pick up, and he'd have this big trash bag, and so he would just get little prizes. So everybody got a prize for the smallest blueberry,
Yeah.
so for the ugliest frog, it was always something. So for the biggest stick, they were always, but they were like, Papa, Papa, you have all these kids, so they all looked forward to it. But we all had the thing that Mama, their grandmother, and her sister would go in, and it was at Kimball's in Jaffrey. So they have amazing lobster rolls.
Oh,
And-
I was thinking ice cream.
Well, they have a ton of, like, they're known for their fried seafood, and it's fresh and it's good for
Ooh,
fried
okay.
food. And they used to give you like a platter, and it is literally piled high. You could share a fried food platter. So her and her sister would go and get a lobster roll, and they would get ice cream, and then they would go and set up the blankets ahead of time, and then they'd come back. So trying to, organize, 50 some people going, but we'd all spread our blankets out. Babies would go at some point. Like, everybody had their the earplugs for the babies. But the Jaffrey Fireworks Festival, so it's just about family. It's about sitting here in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire, and there is you're watching front and center over $1 million worth of fireworks being put off, and they're all choreographed to music. They're all synchronized. So they would do themes. Like one year they did movie themes. The way they did Star Wars, the theme for Star Wars coming up, and just incredible. So even my kids started. And I think that when, I think it was right after 9/11. I think it was after 9/11, or it was, I feel like it was, actually no, it was 2012. I forgot what was going on, but they had a bomb threat. Somebody had called in and had a bomb threat, so then they stopped it. Then they started it over in Troy or somewhere over in that way between Jaffrey and Keene, a fairgrounds. They did that, I think, for like 1 or 2 years, and I think they just stopped it altogether. But man, that was such a sad thing to let go of.
Yeah, when you said the clams, I thought, well, oh, maybe that was my summer food because my grandparents lived a mile from Kelly's roast beef on Revere Beach Boulevard. And so every Sunday we used to go over there and then we used to walk. And so fried clams has that. Now I eat fried clams all the time and I forgot that that was a very specific time. You would only get them during that time. And I always used to want Bianchi's pizza while my parents were getting
lobster
fried clams.
rolls would be a summer one now for me.
Yes.
But I love clam strips.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love those as a kid.
I like fried clams, but not really big bellies.
See, I don't like the bellies.
I like small bellies.
I mean, I would try it. The first time I moved up here, so in Virginia, I never knew that you had, I thought it was always clam strips.
Mm-hmm.
And Sundays after church, we used to beg our parents to go to Howard Johnson's.
Oh, yeah. I remember Howard Johnson's. We
Yes.
used to have one on Route 2.
And we used to, so we would get all of our friends and their parents to go out to Howard Johnson's. Somebody's calling in again.
I
But
bet
we
you
would
that's
go.
the stupid Google Speak person. I'm
It
not
probably is.
answering.
Don't answer it. They can text us.
Oh, no. Sorry. It's Jonathan. Hold on one second.
Oh.
I will answer this. Hold on.
Okay. How do we get Johnny on the line? Can we put him in?
WSMN?
Talking about favorite?
to put you into the phone. Hold on one second. I have to flip this switch. Okay. I
He's
got
walking
phone
us
on the
through it.
board. Where's the switch on this thing?
He could call in and we could do it on our speaker. We have Johnny. Uh-oh, I think we just turned all the things off.
Did I lose you?
Yep.
Okay. Is he coming on through your ears?
No,
Let me see.
say something. Maybe turn the volume up.
No. Okay. He's not.
Breaker 19, this is Rubber Duck.
I getcha. I found ya. There he is.
Hello? Hello?
Are you there now? Is he there now?
I don't hear him. Johnny?
Johnny? You know what it is? The gray flips.
I don't think... I think you...
When I do, the red light comes on, but then I can't hear you.
Here, right here. What about this one?
Talk to caller. Wait. Can we talk to caller? Does that work?
Are you there? We're listening. Can you put him on speaker? And
Sorry.
he's going to have to come in and show us.
So there's a little flip that when I flipped it, the red light came on, but you couldn't hear him. So Johnny
No.
says we're making him hungry. Poor Johnny. It's
Lobster
almost
rolls, yes.
lunchtime. We don't feel
Yeah.
that bad.
So the first time I ever had clam strips, or clam bellies, the people that I was a nanny for on the Cape, their brother used to work for Paul Mitchell. So he used to come, and every time he'd come down to visit, he lived in Boston, but he would come down, every other week or so. So he took me out to dinner at the yacht club in Hyannis, and I was like, oh, clams. Well, I bit into it, and there was a big gob of sand, and it was gooey, and I was like, nope. And I have not tried them since.
Really? Okay. I'll let you try one of my small ones one time. So what were Cape's summers like for you? Crowded?
No, because I was there back before GPS was there. So everybody used the service roads. And we had a town beach sticker, so you couldn't go to, and we lived in Sandwich. So you had a town beach, literally if there were 6 people on the beach, it was crowded in any direction that you looked.
Okay.
So and people could walk over, but you just knew the spots. So the people that I was a nanny for, they had 2 town beach stickers from, it was Sandwich and then Barnstable or something. Anyway, they had 2 different ones, but then they had these little ponds and stuff that you could go to. But so you'd always just go through the back roads, and then you could get where you needed to go. But for the most part, you would just stay out of Hyannis.
Okay. Yeah, because that's where we would always go, Dennis or Hyannis.
Yeah, you would just stay out of the towns in the summer. Like, don't go to town on a rainy day, because that's where everybody's going to be. Everybody's going to be going to the mall. Everybody's going to be doing there. We'd never went to the beaches, so it was perfect for us.
Mm-hmm.
I loved being on the Cape.
Yeah, because you have the beaches, and it's great weather, and it's where everybody's going in the summer.
Yeah. And you could walk, you could ride on the canal, you could do 7 miles on the canal, you could do the rail trail. Some of our greatest memories from being up here once I had kids is when we would rent an Airbnb on the Cape. Everybody brought their bikes. And, of course, the kids were bringing their friends. So, sitting around, we all have a big meal at the table. We've got 12 kids, got 12 people sitting around the table. And everybody pitches in to clean up because everybody's trying to go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
So we'd all go on the rail trail and we'd ride our bikes to the ice cream, and we'd get ice cream every time, every night. And so even my kids and some of their friends, my son's best friend, he was talking about it the other night. He's like, "Hey, do you remember we went to the Cape?" And so he'd brought 2 friends that year. And Noah likes peppermint ice cream, and he's walking out, and Quaid had said something to him, and he turned around and he dropped his whole cone.
Oh.
And so they were just joshing they were,
Yeah.
ribboning each other the other day about it. And I was like, man, it's so cool just to be able to smile and being like, man, you've left a great memory in somebody else's kids. Just other people will have the same experience. And they're like, when are we going to go back? When are we going to go back? They're all pressuring, hey, Chris, how come you haven't booked that trip?
Right. And one of the things, I must have shut something off over there. One of the things that I think of when I think of summer is how in New England you're trying to squeeze it all in.
Yes.
Because, we've got to do things outside, and we've got to have the picnics, and we've got to have the party and the pool party, because it's such a condensed season.
Yes, I feel like it's such a narrow window. You want to ride motorcycles, you want to go swimming, you want to go to the beach, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about New England, and especially where we are. 2 hours you can be in the mountains, an hour you can be in the lakes, an hour you can be in Boston, an hour you can be at the beach.
Yep.
There's
You're
so
Portsmouth.
much.
Like, there's so much to do. We are in a perfect location, and I do think, because we've been out every weekend, and then we've also been out during the week for a couple of parties. I had a food party on Tuesday, and so I'm like, man, I'm tired. And then I'm like, oh yeah, because I haven't had a weekend. I haven't had like the day where you're not driving, doing, partying, and you're partying till you try, like on Tuesday.
Sleep when you're
like,
dead.
Can I go to bed at 10 on Tuesday?
I know.
But it is that overwhelming feeling that it's a special time.
Yeah.
And that you have to squeeze it all in. One of the things we like to do is we used to do this all the time. We haven't done it in a long time. We used to go down to the half shell and watch the fireworks in Boston. You used to have to go.
Yeah.
We'd ride our bike, get a little spot, sit down there. I haven't really watched fireworks up here very much lately.
We haven't watched any fireworks since the Jaffrey one closed. I don't know where they. I don't understand why they do it. Like, you have to look at the schedule that's coming up, because they all do them on different days. Like,
we did
sometimes
that
they do
last year. We did the schedule. Every different city.
I look it up and then we miss it.
Yeah, totally did.
One time we went up to Kennebunkport, and we stayed at, I don't know if it was the Kennebunkport Inn, but it has a saltwater pool.
Yep.
And just across the street, you walk over and there's a beach right there. In the way that the beach, it kind of curves around like a rocky jetty. They do fireworks right off of the water just down from there. So that was really neat to be able to sit on the beach and watch the fireworks. That was cool. I really liked those. But I feel like summer is, I feel it's like you're waiting. It's like the kid in the window, like he's just waiting for it to happen, and then the warm comes out, and I'm like, everybody's trying to do everything.
Yeah, all at once. And I was thinking about how, like, ooh, it's only June and I'm tired. I gotta build in some windows of some rest in there, just because I will go all out.
Yeah.
For the next 3 months.
But you can go. I love dining. I love eating outside, and I love that more places are starting to create spaces for that. That is one thing that I'm grateful for COVID for doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go, like, think about, you go to Florida, and even when you go to Europe, there's always outside seating.
Yes.
Always, everywhere.
And they have the weather for it. I think that we're not really built. I wanted to there was a building down the street that my client had purchased. And I was like, this rooftop is flat with sides. We should make a business, because it was commercially zoned. There was commercial on the first floor. And I thought, oh, we should put a rooftop bar. And he's like, but you're never going to make enough money. And I'm like, yeah, but you need a place that's operating all year to now then lease up this to have their rooftop bar.
Right.
And he's just like, insurance liability. And I'm like, oh, I want a roof.
There's got a lot of places.
There are a ton of places, I feel
Where
like.
did we go? we went to a comedy club somewhere, and we went out on that little rooftop thing and looked down.
Oh, right across the street. We saw Drew Dunn at the
Yeah,
Nashua Community Center. They had
so
that
we
little
walked right
rooftop
up here.
thing. Yeah.
So I think you could do it.
So I'm a rooftop person. I'm a
If they can do it in
crow's
Florida.
nest.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm any one of those things.
I loved doing that every night when we went
Yes.
down to the beach. I loved being on the rooftop.
And I think that because they have the weather and you want to be outside enjoying it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be inside. Like I know the last couple of days it's like it was so hot that the idea of like I want to get into the AC. But I really I don't mind that in this time period.
Yeah.
It's like
So yesterday, our pool temperature was 86 degrees. Everybody took bets on it. Like, okay, what do you think it is? And so when you go in and flip the heater on, it'll tell you what the temperature already is. And I was like, yeah, it's 86. It's almost not.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cool you off.
I mean, it does, but then you're just sitting in it, so you can stay in it for a while. But then if you get out and then get hot, then it's cool back off. But what was cool is everybody was there. You know, Kayla got home from doing her thing, and Jonah had finished work, and I had gotten home later. And I come home and I walk through there. Chris is floating in the pool. Kayla's reading her book, and I'm like, what a beautiful sense. And my son was house sitting. So he had gone over and let the dogs out and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, what y'all doing?" You'd think that they want their freedom and be like, "No," but it was just cool. Like everybody had a cool conversation. Kayla started playing this game that we should play sometime, and I will tell everybody else how to do it. Like, this might be one of the younger generation things. She's like, "All right, let's play a game. I'm gonna ask you a number. You're gonna think of a number." And then you're going to give each person a topic. Is that how it works? Yes. So, all right, no, we pick a number. You're going to pick topics. We pick a number, and we all agree on it. So say it's 7. So then you come up with 3 topics, whether it's going to be sports, things that you put in your mouth, clothes. It could be anything.
Okay.
It could be artist. It could be this. And so we're going to try to make you guess our number by our answer. Like,
Okay.
so we're trying to
So
pick.
for 7, you would say, like, if it would be movies, there's a movie called 7.
Oh, that's a good one. But then I can't say it. We can't say it.
Okay. I'm
'Cause it would
thinking
give
of
your number
bands.
away.
Yeah, okay.
So if I wanted to, all right, so we'll do an easy one.
Okay.
So if our number was 10 and you picked category of movie for me, I would say Mission Impossible. On a scale of 1 to 10, if I have to ask you, like, hey, where do you rate this? If I said Mission Impossible.
Okay, so like,
10
and I'm
being the
thinking of
best.
it more like, all right, if my number was 3 and I'd say bands, what would you say?
Country music. I would have said a country music.
Okay. I'm thinking 3 Doors Down.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but oh yeah, this
So-
is going to be
so-
way harder.
So
than,
Kayla had said to me, so I said clothes, outfit. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, just a genre or a feel or, just whatever you
fashion.
think. Yeah. So she says, okay, a shift dress with sneakers. And I was like, ooh,
1990.
is 0 on the scale? It was a 2 or
Was it
it was
2?
a 3. So she knew, like,
Yeah.
so you're trying to get that person to pick an answer. And she said they've done it with their friends. And you could just come up with ridiculous stuff, like things that you would put in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, to me, that would be like a raw onion. I'd probably say a 1 or 2 for me.
Yeah,
So
'cause you
just-
hate onions.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I understand now. I was thinking that the word had to be the number in the thing.
No, you want them to guess your number by guessing. So, like, if I picked, you're like, okay, then the next category, if you said favorite thing to do, and I said beach,
10.
right?
Okay.
So I'd make you pick.
Okay.
You were trying to get
So
you
the
to guess
number
the
is
number.
the scale.
Yes.
Okay. Of enjoyment.
And
or whatever.
everybody gives you a topic, and you have to try to get you to guess their number, that
Okay.
number.
Okay.
So it comes up with some really stupid stuff.
I was thinking, I'm trying to think of the last time I played like a game in a car or something like that. Because I'm like, that might be one that you could play in a car. 'Cause
Yes.
You wouldn't have to look at each other and you can.
Yeah.
It's almost like the grading system for Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
name a category, name a genre.
Yes. But so we were just all hanging out, floating in the pool, playing this game, and then everybody just walks, does their thing, and it's like 5:30, and they're like, "Okay, I gotta go."
Yeah.
She was going out on the boat on Babusick, and he was going to do a pizza party.
Does Logan have a boat working?
He has 2 jet skis, but a friend of his, it was his boat that they had
Okay.
invited him over for.
I thought he bought a boat.
He did buy a boat. I don't know if he sold that boat. He probably bought 2 or 3 boats in the last. I don't know if he still has one.
I should put him on my
But he's got 2 or
pontoon boat idea.
Yes. He'll find you a good boat.
I know, he's like so
Yes.
crafty.
They bought those those motorcycles. I told you $500.
Oh yeah, the Gold Wings.
Yeah, the Gold Wings. They had a cap. Like, you can't spend any more than this.
That's crazy.
But they all know how to build a bike and
Yeah.
fix it and do all this stuff. And
Isn't that's amazing? That is such a great skill.
but what a great adventure for like 20-year-olds to being like, hey, let's go buy a bike and we'll go do this and we're going to go cruise on it. You
Yeah.
know, these old funky.
And I almost think it's so enjoyable, kind of the way, and I know not everybody feels this way, but when I make a meal, I'm making a meal exactly the way I want it.
Yes.
So there's something enjoyable about building something that I want
Yeah.
and having it.
Yes.
Where I think like, okay, building a bike that you want from, okay, we bought the shell for $500 and now we're doing this thing. I think that's such an enjoyable thing.
I think it's so cool. I think it's cool that they're all looking to create memories and thinking outside of the box. Two of their friends have bought, I know it's probably not the right word, a Sprinter van. They've bought vans, and 2 of their friends are living out of it. They kind of park sometimes. Sometimes they park at their parents' house and stuff, but they want to take it and do go cross country because they can both work remotely.
Yep.
So they're working right now to save money, but they bring it over to us. They bring it over to us and they're like, hey, do you want to see? You want to see? You want to
Yep.
see? So then another guy, he's going to go out to Arizona or something. So he's going to live out of his van. And so they're rehabbing their vans.
So I think that's an awesome way to take a trip across this
Yeah.
country for a summer, just to sleep in it. You can take your dog or your pet with
Oh
you.
my gosh, but they've got like these, the laminate wood floors and their little shelving and the way they've decorated it, and it's cozy. It's actually really cool. And so now they have another friend that's getting ready to do it.
I
to
would camp
save-
in that. I would camp in that. So when everyone
Yeah.
goes camping, I'll show up in this van. I'm going to stay inside because of the bug thing.
Get a screened in.
So the other day with the pool party, I brought a sweatshirt, covered myself in the towel, and I pulled the sweatshirt so I only had my right eye exposed. And then they were like, it's freaky that we can only see one eye. So then I stuck my nose out and I had one eye. And then don't I see a mosquito like literally land on my eyelashes? And I'm like, I'm going in. I thought I could hang out here. And it was funny because while I was there encased with just my eye showing, everyone else started going, yeah, I'm feeling some bugs. And I'm like, yeah, because they can't land on me, but I've attracted them over. Now everybody knows what I
I'm
feel
gonna
like.
just do like a quick 5-minute run around the pool, or 5-second run around the pool, just to bring them back so you guys can.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. So, what other favorite summer activities?
So I love going on the motorcycle. I love going on a boat.
I do too.
I love sandbars. I love beaches. I like lakes. I'm really a water person.
Me too.
Pools. So anything having to do with water is something that I really like to do. I like the drive-in.
So I like the drive-in too.
So is there still one in Milford?
I think yes. I'm not sure. I just saw How to Tame Your Dragon, something like that. They're
Yeah.
doing, and I forgot what the other one
Oh, I
was.
love that little movie.
It is cute, but I don't know if it's like the second one or a different
Okay,
one.
there might be a second one now.
But we used to take the back of Chris's truck, and we have the futon couch. But we had we take our outdoor couch cushions, put them in the back of the truck. I'm like, it is fancy and it is comfortable. We get our blankets. And I pack a picnic. Sometimes I will do like a shrimp cocktail, or we'll do stuff like that. I'll do pasta salad, or I take, sometimes we'll do pulled pork sandwiches like that, like good food, like that
Right.
we're going to bring to eat and just kind of hang out. And it's just very, gosh, we've gone, sometimes it was just me and our Chris and Kayla. And a couple of times it was, just me, Jonah, and Chris. and sometimes it's been all of us and their friends and hanging out. We've got all the chairs. Chris bought a blow-up couch for the thing. We've got these 2 big, deep chairs. Like, it's comfy.
And so I remember we had one in Medford, like that Mystic Valley Rotary? You would go from like the Meadow Glen Mall, like you're going into Revere. That whole area has changed. And there, on the left, there used to be a huge movie theater of drive-in.
Oh.
And so you would drive by and see the movie playing.
Yeah.
And that's where we used to go. And then it got taken over, and then some corporation just put a big building there. But that's like a childhood thing, going to the drive-in movies.
Do they still have a drive-in down there?
No. Not. I think the only drive-in I know in this area is Milford, and I didn't know if it was still around.
I think it's still open. I mean, it was. We haven't gone in like a couple of years because now it's like everybody's gone, and it's like.
It's still a fun
Chris
thing to
and
do.
It is. But do Chris and I want to go and watch?
Make out in a drive-in.
He's like, now the bugs will get me. I'm not gonna walk too far to the bathroom, and it's hot.
Just watch inside on my couch with my cats.
Yes.
So that's something that's kind of interesting. That kids don't want to do things out because home is so exciting. Like their video games are home. Their favorite TV programs are home. We didn't have that. We were like looking for experiences out.
Yes.
We were looking, what are we going to go do? Let's do some. That was something.
Home was boring.
Home was boring. So we would, our parents were there and there was nothing to do.
Yeah.
And if you were home, you would possibly have to do a chore.
Yes.
So home has changed. So for us, it was, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I want to do something.
Yes.
I want to do something.
So in the summer when we were kids, there was a place called Ward's Road. And it has that's where you get the mall, the restaurants, and it was 2 strips. It was divided. It was a divided lane. Everybody brought their cars out, and the lights at night, and everybody's like hanging out the window. There's convertibles, and
They have street racing at Loudon. So a couple of days a week, I think it's Wednesdays and Fridays.
Oh.
They have a schedule up, but you can bring whatever car you want or your motorcycle, as long as you have you have to have a helmet.
Yeah.
But you can race side by side against your friend. So John and Rob raced each other in the trucks. Like literally,
oh my God,
we
that could
brought
be
our
funny.
truck with our toolbox down the strip, and we made it. He made it in under I think one of them was under 10
Oh my
because they were like, you
gosh.
can't go any faster without more equipment.
Yeah.
Like once you beat a certain speed, you need more safety stuff. Because at first it was like 12 point something, then it was like 11 point something, then it was
Oh my
11.
gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, so like drag stripping. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Gosh, that sounds so fun.
We
but
should do that one night.
Yeah, I would love to.
It's fun because you can see all the different cars, and then they race each other, and then some bikes race, like a lot of street bikes. John wanted to take his bagger there and just race it once.
That'd be cool. That would be cool to do. I would like that.
But
yeah,
it reminds me of that.
It was a little bit of that, we're kids, my sister was barely 16, but that was you couldn't wait to turn 16 so you could drive the strip.
Yep.
And it was, you go down and you turn around at the gas station at the end and you come back up, and we'd stop, and there's a big parking lot. It was like a Hills, which was a department store, which was Rose's. Do you remember? Did you guys ever have a Rose's?
Mm-mm.
Well, so it was somewhere between Dollar General and Walmart.
Okay.
It's
That
just
would be our Zares, I think.
nobody ever, but there was a huge parking lot there, and so everybody would park, meet up there, and hang out. And then we were, hey, let's go get some food, and everybody's listening to their jam, and you're all dressed in your outfit, you're just feeling, cool, you're feeling fly.
Yes.
Yes.
You're going to see everyone and be seen.
Yes.
That was like,
yes.
where, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And now everyone takes pictures and they're seen all the time.
Yes.
There's not that same
Yes.
element of
Because there
human
really wasn't
connection.
anything there wasn't really a lot to do
No.
where we were.
No, actually, when I think about it, there weren't places. We didn't have money.
Yeah.
Our parents weren't giving us money
Right.
either. So no one was
Right.
catering to a business. There wasn't a trampoline park, or there weren't those places because
Right.
we didn't have money. Why would you cater to us? A business wouldn't want teenagers around.
Right.
So we did a lot of hanging at the field, which is like behind a high school, or there'd be a big field. We'd hang out there till the cops kicked us out.
Yes.
Always getting that. In my town, I lived in Somerville. My town ended up having cops walking a beat, so they could really be on the ground and see what was going on, who was doing what
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So I think that's a very...
Do you still talk to some of your childhood friends? Do you still keep in touch?
I don't. Once I went to college, I ended a large group of them. And then in college, the leftovers I did.
Yeah.
And then I don't even have any college friends that I maintain with.
Yeah.
Because once in college, I got my own apartment and I had multiple jobs. And I was flying by that point, and I was doing
You're just
different
busy.
things.
You didn't have a lot of time for friendships.
Well, and it was like I was wanting to go a different direction.
Yeah.
I was wanting to go a different direction.
And do you think they were staying the same?
No, I don't necessarily think they're staying the same, but some of my childhood friends were my childhood friends because we lived in proximity, not because they were good friends.
Yeah.
So I was going through some, like my mother.
You're a friend by opportunity.
Yes. Like, so they were party friends. They
Yeah.
were have a good time with friends.
Yeah.
They weren't, I need something. I need emotional support.
Yeah.
I need someone to lean on. They weren't
You didn't
that.
have the emotional bond. You didn't have the emotional connection.
Yeah, you had memories that you did stuff with and you had stories.
Yeah.
But once I was like 19 and then that whole thing happened with my mother and it was like, when the thing happened with my mother and it was like, I need an apartment, I need a car, like I need to be an adult right at the, like right
now.
second. Then I think I had one friend that kind of remained as she was that person.
Yeah.
She was that person of, okay, she's going to be there to help you get through moving your furniture into an apartment and like that kind of stuff.
Like a real friend, like on a deeper level.
Yes.
Because I think we have a superficial friends for...
And they were perfect. Superficial friends were perfect.
We were watching a show last night.
Do you keep in touch with any of your high school friends?
I did until my Facebook account got hacked.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, but...
Oh, and don't forget, I wasn't on social media forever.
One or two of them that we did every once in a while with, like, we liked each other's stuff. And actually, yes, one of the girl that I was talking to about the three girls in the neighborhood, it was me, my sister, and Stephanie and I still talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we trying to get together. We want to do like a trip to Nashville or somebody where everybody we can meet for like a long weekend, or even Florida. But yeah, so we still maintain.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wasn't part of social media until like 2017 or 18. I got Instagram. And then I only got Facebook because we were supposed to do Facebook Lives.
Right.
And it's very hard for me to maintain two different social media accounts. Like I'm like, this is already taxing me. But like, so I have friends from my early 20s. Carolyn is from when I was 21, I think. 20 or 21, Carolyn came into my life. So technically, I met her in college. When I was physically in college, I met her. But she wasn't from my college.
Yeah. But still, from your 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
People from your 20s that you still met.
Yeah, but my spouse is from teenager. I went to high school with him. So technically, I do maintain a relationship from high school. I married it.
I married
the one I was keeping.
Every day.
So, yeah, I guess, so there is someone who knows me from my teenage years. Yes, there is someone.
I don't think anybody really knows me, who I am now.
Yeah.
Except for Stephanie, maybe. The other thing before we get ready to go, one of the great things that everybody should do this year, I would love for us to do it. Tubing down in Charlemont. It is so much fun. It's so much fun. We got to get our tubes. Mm-hmm. And we were asking Kayla yesterday, and I was like, are you going to tube this year? And she's like, I don't know. She just doesn't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
At this point, she's like, I just need to go because it will set me back.
Yeah.
If I have anything happen, it'll.
Yes.
And I don't want to go into the second year being.
Yeah, she can't break her hand or her arm or
yes.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason why she don't want to ski. She wants to ski. She's just not going to do it right now.
Yeah, she's just gonna wait.
Wait till she gets some insurance on those hands.
Yes. So that's like a huge liability right now. She's not gonna do that.
Yes. Yeah. No, we definitely have to do that.
Yeah.
I think my in-laws would really like it too.
Oh my God, yes. And sometimes people tie up. I don't think that you should tie up just
I'm not
because
a tie-up person.
there's it's one thing to stay close, but when the water's moving, you kind of do get separated, but you don't want to get tangled.
I don't like even when boats tie up to each other and one starts tugging.
Yeah.
It can almost make me seasick.
Yeah.
That weird jarring. The rocking of water is one thing, but like
Well, and if you don't have the buoys on there, because I don't like, sometimes people will tie up and they'll just be like, oh, I'll just hold it. And then if you want to go to step over, like I don't like the gap sometimes. Like if you put your finger in there, that hurts.
Yeah.
Put your hand in there and it wants to bump.
yeah, crush your hand or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, you wouldn't have that if you tied up 2 pontoon boats.
And you put the bumpers on each side.
Well, but the pontoons would do, so you could go from, it would be
Yes.
easier to go because the way the pontoons are keeping the boats from bumping.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I need to hang my hand over the side.
Yeah. I need to have like a foot out, my hand out.
Yes. I don't want to get pinched.
Right. Right.
Don't
Yeah.
wanna get
So I think that's super fun. I could do that this year. I do have a treat I want to do with you, but I don't want to tell you what it is until. we
Okay,
do
don't
it.
tell me.
I won't tell
Don't
you.
give me an inkling.
It's so hard to keep secrets.
It is
from
hard
you.
to keep secrets.
So, but I'm going to try. I want to do that with you. And then I definitely think we should do that. And I've been wanting to do this series and I wanted to do it last year and we just never got it together. But like, try new things, 50 things you don't do till after you're 50 or something.
Yes,
you know,
that's a good
something
idea.
fun. And
So
we'll-
one of the other things I think that would be fun to do is, have you ever been to the summer playhouses?
Mm-mm.
So I know they have one in Wilton, and I think they used to have one in Peterborough, but it's just kind of like an old wooden. It's like most of the time it's dirt floor.
play theater, like a theater?
Yeah, it's a play
Okay.
theater, and they'll do
should do it.
plays and stuff, and it's so fun. Like we used to do that years ago, but it's kind of nostalgia. You go at night, and sometimes they've had some pretty decent actors that have been on Broadway.
Mm.
I couldn't tell you their names, but but they've had some, big names that come through and do these cute little skits.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to another Thursday's worth of Lisa and Robin on the mic. You were listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. Stay tuned till next